Mavericks Mayhem's YouTube channel. Obviously, you can tell by the thumbnail, we're going over the steel frame PDP. Just starting off, I have a little over 2,000 rounds, probably 2,500 at this point, like at this current moment. Not quite at 3 yet, but I have formed some opinions, and I have learned a lot about this gun, and I learned that I do like it, so just a spoiler alert there. But what it comes with in the box, obviously you get a normal, regular PDP steel frame box. There's nothing fancy, so just forewarning, you don't get any cool case or like challenge coin or anything like that. In the box you get obviously the gun, the Magwell is already on the gun. You get 3 magazines, 2 of which are 20 round magazines. Work fantastic. They have the factory extended base plate that works with the Magwell. There's one 18 rounder, so you get 2 20 rounders, one 18 rounder. 18 rounder also has the proper somewhat extended base plate for the Magwell, so you can actually insert it. There is no optics plate in the box. You get a QR code and you scan it, send it in, tell them which one you want. So you get it for free. You just send them you just select the one you want and send them your shipping information, and you'll get it in the mail. We'll go over all the pros and cons and stuff later, but that's basically all you get in the box. It comes with a chamber flag. I think it came with a lock. I threw that away immediately because I don't have kids and I don't need a lock for my gun. Basically, this gun, living with it, shooting it, has been a dream. First pro is going to be the Optics mounting system. It's a plate system, but the cut is like super deep, and it's deep and wide. So whatever optic you want to put on here is going to fit for sure. And I'm pretty sure they make a plate for just about every type of optic or pistol optic that's out there right now. Pretty sure they have an acro plate, and then the aftermarket also supports this optic system very well. More specifically, like this is a ZF Precision optics plate I have on this SD Pro for the Vortex Defender XL. Very good plate. Highly recommend this plate. But the fencing and everything is great on here. That is one thing I will strike and talk about in the negatives, is about the plates. But continuing on with the positives is the accuracy of this gun. So obviously, if you don't mount an optic, iron sights are okay. They're like, how would I put it? They're like upgraded Glock sights in a sense. So there's 3 dots, 2 white in the rear, 1 dot white in the front. It is polymer, and they are adjustable, so you can adjust the rear iron for windage and elevation, I think. Yes. So you can adjust the irons for windage and elevation, but this gun should have an optic on it to begin with, in my opinion, because they literally made the PDP almost specific to have a optic, and you're doing yourself a disservice if you do not run one. As far as accuracy goes, this gun is just dead on the nuts accurate. Barrel lockup, trigger, the ergonomics, we'll get to that in a minute, but just everything, the whole package, the weight of the steel frame, it all works together, and it shoots itself basically. The trigger is a very good trigger. Like, very good is an understatement. The brake There's like very little take up, very crisp and light break, extremely short reset, and it literally zero complaints. Could not be better in my opinion. Ergonomics, everything is just perfectly blended. You'll have zero complaints as far as just the feel of the gun in your hand. The factory straps or back strap kind of grip panel that it comes with, it has a very nice like pyramid type texture on it. It blends perfectly into the frame, and the beaver tail up around where your thumb index is on the frame of your shooting hand. The front strap and everything just works flawlessly, and they sure did their homework on that. And it's like butter. It just melts into your hand. The front strap is very aggressive, but not uncomfortable, if that makes sense. It's flat on the front and then blended perfectly into the sides. So when you grip it, you can feel it gripping into your hand and pulling it. And the back strap, the way it is formed, this little kind of swell here, whenever you squeeze the gun, it pulls your hand up into the beaver tail. So every time you grab this gun, it's going to sit very well in your hand, which leads to even better performance and accuracy. So the Magwell that it came with, very good. No complaints, no issues there. It's very easy. You just pop this rear pin out, pull it off, and do that in reverse, put it back on. Very simple, straightforward. You don't need like a whole lot of tools or anything to do that. Just a punch and you're done. The magazines that it came with, the two 20 rounders fit in it fine, and obviously the 18 rounder fits in it as well. Obviously it's designed to do that, but if you do not have these base plates like a regular factory flush fit 18 rounder, it won't fit. So it will not lock into the Magwell, and even holding it in there, it will not chamber a round. So just be aware of that. The 18 rounder flush fit magazines will not work with the Magwell. They obviously will work if you take the Magwell off though. And that is usually how I carry it. I usually don't carry it with a Magwell, and I do carry this. I use a Tier 1 conceal holster. I use a MSP and this X-Fios holster. I'll put the name of it on the screen, but this is carried it without a light, and this is carried it with a light. These are very good holsters, and I do recommend them. I wear a Hunter Constantine belt, or Hunter Constantine carry belt. Shout out, Ben said you're big shillin'. With the Tier 1 conceal holster and the Hunter Constantine belt, this gun just, I'm not gonna say it disappears because it's a big ass heavy gun, but this gun definitely sits well in the pants and does not like move around, and it is comfortable for me to carry. But I have a very particular body type, and I tend to get away with carrying bigger guns. More pros, in my opinion, the serrations, you can see they're cut out. Like, I would say they're not for venting, but it does help. But they're like for lightening the slide, which one looks sexy, and there's a like butler cut up here, which also very sexy. But the serrations are very, very aggressive. They're like they don't cut you, but the slide is so wide or thick, and the serrations are so deep that you'll have zero trouble manipulating the slide. So that is very good in my opinion. I don't really use the rear serrations that much, but even if you are the type that wraps over the optic, or you're not running an optic, they are also aggressive and do work fine. But the front ones are perfect in my opinion. I like how thick it is up front and how deep they are, and they cut it up into the top of the slide as well, so you can feel it. Very good. This gun has run flawless. It has shot every single round that I have put through it. I don't even think I've had like a light strike with this gun before. Not that I can recall, at least. I've put so much different types of ammo through this gun, like competition loads, all the way from like 85 grain, like some pissing hot stuff, 85 grain up to like 158, I want to say. 158 like competition loads that are like moving like 800 feet per second. I couldn't get this thing to choke. I like literally everything that I put in this gun, whatever you have, it's going to work. So just know that for a fact that this gun works. I have seen where out of the box, some people might have issues with reliability as far as just being brand new. The only thing I did when I first got it, took it out of the box, took the slide off, made sure, like, just looked over the gun and put some lube on it and went to work. I have not cleaned this gun over the whole course of its life so far. I wipe down the outside because the nose will get some carbon and stuff built up on it, and I just like my guns to look pretty and not rub like carbon and shit all over my hands and stuff when I'm handling it. But as far as the inside it's fucking disgusting. But it's also, I say that, it's also a lot cleaner than you would think at 2,500 rounds. So I did lube this gun every 500 rounds, and I have had zero reliability issues. So take that for what it's worth, or with a grain of salt, or however the internet wants to take that, but that is my experience. First legitimate con is with the plate system. The plates I get, that you get from Walther themselves, they don't have like fencing on the front or the back, so your optic is just sitting on the plate. There is some very like sturdy recoil bosses that align with the optic, but other than that, you're just relying on the recoil bosses and the screws. So you're putting a lot of trust in the plate itself, but the plate seems to be very high quality and sturdy, and the way it mounts and the footprint that it mounts on is good in my opinion. But I would have liked to have seen more fencing on the plate itself. But going back to the aftermarket, you can fix that with aftermarket plates like this. Safari's Precision has like the best fencing of an optic plate I've ever seen, and it just hugs the optic on the slide. So factory plates are good, and this is the optic plate that I've been using for the entire 2,500 rounds I have put through this gun. So I say that as a negative, but it hasn't failed yet, so take that with a grain of salt. The wait time for the optic plate is a little long though. I ordered, I had a plate sitting around for this gun, so the plate that I put on here was actually for this gun, but I had this optic on it with this plate, so I didn't need the RMR plate. So went ahead, slapped it on there when I got the gun, and just went to town, started shooting. But on the same day I got the gun, I ordered my free plate from Walther, and it took about 2 months to get, which is kind of crazy because that's about how long it takes to get the new plates for the Staccato HD. And this gun has, the PDP has been out for several years now, so that's a little concerning, because I feel like these should be, either they should start coming in the box, but I know why they don't come in the box, because they're high quality plates and that would just add to the overall cost of the gun. But these plates need to ship like almost the same day as you order them, So, in my opinion, I understand things happen, and I'm not a weapons manufacturer, but that is a negative in my book. I consider this next negative kind of nitpicky, but shooting this gun without gloves on is easy. I haven't shot it with gloves on, but I bring that up because this trigger guard is massive. Like, it's huge. And running a light or something. So, like this X300, I have it as far back as it'll go without like contacting the trigger guard, but you can see it still hangs over the edge and it's not flush because this is a 5-inch gun. So I think it should almost be flush, if not flush, with the end of the slide. But that's not necessarily a negative when you're shooting it and looking at it from, you know, a bird's eye view. But when you go in the holster with it, let me do this. When you go in a holster with it, it sits very proud. So if you, like me, have a universal holster that indexes off a light, the gun sits very high in the holster just because there's like almost an extra 1/2 inch, I'd say almost, of trigger guard pushing the light further, so the gun sits a little bit higher. So I have noticed that when carrying, like bending over, that the gun sits a lot higher from my waistband than other guns do in this holster specifically. But that's kind of a nitpick thing that does not affect the function or anything of the firearm. I just wanted to point that out and bring that up for anybody that carries a MSP or universal holster that indexes off of the light. One more con, kind of a con, but I have been running these 2 types of extended base plates for my magazines. This one is a Safari Precision base plate, and this is a Terran Tactical. I have several of each of these, but these are the only 2 aftermarket mag extensions that I've been running so far. The Terran Tactical works with them. These both work with the Magwell, but Terran Tactical fits in there without issue, like instantly without issue. But on a slide lock reload, so coming from empty with a full mag, inserting and then dropping the slide would, not consistently, but more times than not, it would choke up and be out of battery, like almost completely out of battery, without assistance. So putting a mag in and dropping the slide, it would not, either the mag was not seated properly or it just had too much spring tension on it that the slide didn't want to pick up the top round. So I would have to bump the back of the slide and push it into battery basically. But other than that, that only happened on open slide or like last round hold open reloads. So just a note on that. That was on the Terran Tactical. And on these Safari Precision extensions, they say on their website, so I cannot fault them for this, but I'm just making y'all aware that it does, their magazine extensions do work with the steel frame, but just the geometry or something to do with how the steel frame is molded compared to the polymer, it will mar up and basically take away a little bit of material on the back of the extension. But they did specify that on their website that it will do that, and it will take, either you need to file some material off or just reload it enough until it starts working like flawlessly. But I have done that. Obviously they work now. It didn't take that long, and they didn't not work. if that makes sense. Like they worked when I first got them. It's just they were tight. So just a heads up on that. Going back to the irons, I do kind of count those as a negative just because they are not the best in my opinion. I think they could be better. Either have them blacked out on the rear with a tritium front or like a high vis front, or not the irons that it came with. Basically, like I just didn't really like them, especially carrying, like bending over. The rear sight would hang over the slide, or like there would be a gap in between the slide and the rear sight, so I can like, it would pinch me a little bit and if I bent a certain way. But I have swapped those out. I know a lot of people will not like the fact that they don't come with suppressor height irons, because this gun is basically meant for an Optic, and you cannot co-witness with an Optic with the factory irons. So that is a con for some people, but a con for me was I just did not like the factory irons. So what are my thoughts on this gun other than the pros and cons that you've already heard? This gun just shoots like a dream. Like the recoil impulse is very soft. Even the hottest load I have put through this gun felt soft. The gun just shoots itself almost. It is fit well. The gun, I mean, it looks incredible. The gun looks very sexy. All the fit and finish is great. And just overall, like this gun, I would put it just below a 2011, but I would put it above a 2011 if you don't like all the finicky things that come with a 2011. It's cheaper than most of the 2011s. I know there's some out there now that are getting like sub 1,000, and in that ballpark. This is a MSRP $1,800 gun, but this gun just shoots like a dream. The recoil is almost non-existent. The trigger is fantastic, and the cyclic rate just feels perfect. It comes right back to where you want it, and I couldn't recommend this gun enough. Compared to my polymer frame, it feels like I'm shooting competition loads, even though I'm shooting the most pissing hot load you've ever put into a 9mm handgun. So it's crazy. Competition loads in this gun are insane. There's like zero recoil. You don't have to do anything. It's a thoughtless process. You just point and pull a trigger, and you don't have to put any input into the gun at all. So this gun will make you love shooting it. This is, whenever I first got this, I put almost 1,000 rounds to this in a day because I liked shooting it that much. I've never done that before because I've never enjoyed shooting a gun this much. So if you're looking at getting this gun, I would definitely tell you that it's worth it. And I know the price tag doesn't seem that good, like it's $800 more than the polymer version, but this gun is amazing. But if you don't like heavy guns, this isn't the one for you, because this is a very heavy gun. But if you're fine with the weight and you like a good looking gun that shoots great, this gun is the one for you. So I appreciate y'all watching. Have more videos coming very soon, but leave your thoughts in the comments. Like and subscribe if you thought this video was informative, and I appreciate you watching.